All right, it gets really, really quiet for the next minute. Okay, we are recording and live streaming when you are ready, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'd like to call the Human Resources and Public Works Committee to order. First item we have is approval of the agenda. Could I have a
Yep,
motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as set.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. It's approved. We have an agenda. Next item is call to the public. Do we have any public comment at this time online or? Okay. Yeah.
You're at the table.
Come on.
Come on up here.
So you can be heard.
I don't bite.
Floor mine?
Yeah.
Thanks for having us out. My name is David Nagy. I'm the Director of Employment Services at Mid-Michigan Industries here in Mount Pleasant. For those of you that aren't familiar, Mid-Michigan Industries is a disability services provider here in the area. We've been operating for just over 50 years. We provide employment training and community inclusion skill building to people with disabilities here in the area throughout eight counties of Mid-Michigan, but primarily close to home here in Clare County. For decades, we've been providing business recycling pickup to our customers in Isabella County for their employment training. So our drivers will drive the routes and pick up recycling for small businesses, and our participants will ride along and hone their employment training skills. You'll see down the agenda, there's an approval for a reduction in our tipping fee that'll be imposed here in the coming months. And that's greatly appreciated. And we don't ignore that there was a request made and that there's a reduction in price. And again, I greatly appreciate that. I'm here to humbly request a reduction or a waiver in that tipping fee for consideration. This is looking to run us about $6,000 to $7,000 over the course of the year. And don't get me wrong, that'll be passed on to our customers, and that's how we're going to handle that tipping fee. And that was something that we can sustain as an agency, and I don't want to ignore that. Where that cost is going to end up with, like I said, is with our customers, and those are small businesses in the area. And the alternative for those customers most likely isn't going to be having a larger hauler come in and take care of their recycling. If our prices go up and that's no longer something they can accommodate, more than likely that cost is going to result in an increase of waste. Effectively. What that reduction in customers could also impact is the people that receive our training services. And that'll be a reduction in hours, a reduction in training that they can receive, all negatively impacting our business and our operations. Again, I want to recognize that we greatly appreciate that there was a request and a reduction. And I also want to recognize that we don't have any leverage in this situation. We're not going to stop providing recycling services. We do what we do for our participants, for the business owners, for the county, and for the environment through our recycling. So again, we're not going to stop providing recycling services or anything along those lines. I want to bring those issues to light as a request to waive or reduce the tipping fee that's looking to be imposed. That was all I had. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is consider accepting and placing on file the 2022 Isabella County Planning Commission Annual Report as presented. We have Tim Neoport here, Community Development Director, to give us background on this.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
So this is our annual report. I apologize for it being April already before we're getting to last year's, but the Planning Commission did not hold a meeting in February, so we were kind of put behind a little bit with that. This is the annual report. It's required by statute for us to provide to you, place on file. I'll kind of walk through it briefly with you. Table of contents is pretty typical and normal. Do change page numbers as we have activities, but we start on page 3. Under the introduction section, we talk about the state law, which is PA 33 of 208, Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, and the Planning Enabling Act, which requires us to put this forward to you. We have a list of our membership there. We list our meetings there under 3. We did only hold 8 meetings last year with 1 special meeting. So we're seeing a little bit of a reduction in meetings because we're seeing a little bit of a reduction in the types of activities that require planning commission approval. We're still getting busy with regular zoning approval activity. It's just planning commission and zoning board of appeals approvals have been a little bit lower in the last couple of years. I think coming out of the pandemic. Yep.
Can I ask a question there? What's involved in that master citizen planner certificate?
So it's an MSU extension program. It is, I believe it's a 6-night program. They do offer some classes where it's like over 3 days. I know like at our annual conference, they offer sessions there. And they kind of walk you through all of the basics of planning and zoning. It's a great class. I did just reach out to, and I think I mentioned that to you a month or so ago, reach out to MMRMA. I received a RAP grant quite a few years ago to reduce our cost to planning commission members to go. We actually hosted it here in 320. What happened there, though, was over the 6-week course, it's typically in a time when farmers are in the fields and people can't make, every one of those meetings, and you have to make every one of them to get your certification. So I did reach out and spoke with, I forgot her name, CC, is it? Maybe with MMRMA. I spoke with CC a little bit via email.
Kara CC.
Yes, Kara CC, that's, yes. I did speak with her via email a little bit about that issue and said, is there a possibility for us to do some of the just segments? Like, is it possible for us to maybe not get the citizen planner certification, but to get the citizen planner site plan review process done in front of our planning commission? And she did say that they do have that as a grant. It's a 50-50 match type of a thing. So we're kind of beginning to look into it. I mean, it's pretty fresh for us looking into it. And we realized it here, as you've probably seen, only one of our members currently has it. And so we wanted to get more of them educated from that standpoint. We do internal in-house trainings. We have a couple sections within the ordinance that are very important pieces for planning commission, zoning board of appeals and such. We did those trainings, but I'm sure after 27 years, many of those people are sick and tired of hearing, this voice say it. It's always good to have some other outside source to help, bolster what it is you're trying to work with them on and such. So we are working on it currently.
Okay.
Yep. So we went through meetings there. Section 4.0 just deals with some of the responsibilities of the planning commission. So it's just kind of a list of the bulleted examples of the activities that they are responsible for. Section 5 is sort of the meat and potatoes or the numbers of the operation. And under 5.1, we got the master land use plan review. We did a review last year, as you well know. We brought that to you guys for final approval. So we did work on that all of last year to do the updates based on census numbers and such. 5.2 deals with site plan reviews. We held 11 site plan reviews, or saw 11 site plan reviews, 6 of which were done by the planning commission and 5 were done internally with our planner. We did a number of years ago, I think maybe 2008 now, so 15 years ago, something like that. We did implement some modifications in our ordinance that would allow us to do some of these smaller activities internally rather than getting them out to the planning commission because of the delay. You got to put notice out. They got to wait a month to come to a meeting, kind of a thing. So we expedited that process, and it's worked great over these last 15 years, really helping people to have an expedited process. But you can see our numbers there and site plans are relatively consistent. We did, I think, 1 more last year than we did this year. Special use permits, we've only done 1, did 1 last year. Over the last 2 years, we've only had 2, so 1 in each of those years. And as you look on a page, top page 6, you can see the previous 3 years, we were 8, 6, and 8, so just over 7 average for those 3 years. So we have seen a dip off there, and we think just a lot of it has to do with the economy. People aren't, special use permits usually entail some sort of a business from home activity, and I think people are out jumping around, finding jobs and moving jobs and jumping everywhere else, and there's not a lot of that home-based activity starting up right now. So I would anticipate it probably comes back. It's just as slow right now. Zoning amendments, we did three of those, reviewed three of those township amendments last year. All three were from Union. Two of them were map amendments and one was a text amendment. The text amendment did have to deal with solar energy systems. On page 7, master plan reviews, we did do a review of Wise Township's master plan as required by law. And we were put on notice by the city of Clare that they are beginning the process. So we would anticipate sometime probably either this year or early next year, we'd be doing a review of the city of Clare's master plan. Farmland agreement numbers are quite a bit up. They went from 367 acres moving into PA 116 last year to 643 this year. There were 17 agreements as opposed to 7 last year. And those 17, they were in 6 different townships around the county, primarily in those areas, the center of the county where most of our agricultural land is. Additional activities, the only additional activity we have listed is we worked on that sound study last year on the turbines. That was a long and extensive process and finally tied that up. Zoning permits, we had 137 zoning permits issued in the office, which is a slight decrease. I think it was less than 10%. It was like 10 or 11 short of where the previous year. We do handle about 100 complaints. And we don't really number our complaints in a way that we count them, because I look at complaints as one of those things, it's touches, each one of those complaints that comes in, we make visits to it several times and it takes time. And so one complaint doesn't really equate to like a zoning permit where it's a one-time issue and done. It's usually a several time issue on complaints to get them cleaned up or to get them off for a prosecutor to review. Training, we did no in-house training last year. And planning commission goals for the year are to continue to review the ordinance and master plan and move any language forward, continue to review and look at the solar. As we know, solar has been talked about. And then maintain those lines of communication. These are the 3 items that sort of scored us highest on our in the master plan. We did a survey of the townships and these 3 items scored the highest in those surveys. And one of them was communicating with the townships. It has been that way for 10 years. We did that study. I think it's our 3rd survey. And every time that communication's always been high. We do offer on our agendas a place for township concerns. They can come up, townships can come and actually express themselves to the planning commission, their issues. And we also do have a mailing list that we email each of those townships, like our agendas and our minutes, as well. If you have an activity item in your township, special land use permit in your township, your clerk is also and your supervisor are getting those direct. So everybody's getting the notice. They know that there's something going on and they can communicate with us either beforehand or at those meetings. And we've been doing that for a while. It seems to work. We have 3 townships that 2 now, actually. We had 3 townships that showed up quite regularly for several years, and then through COVID, we've only got 2 of them sort of returned. But they are pretty adamant in being here, and they every month have a comment whether it's everything's fine or whether they have some issue going on. So it seems to be going pretty well. So that's really it for the report. Again, it's just it's an accepting and placing on the file as an action for us. Yeah.
Okay, any questions or comments at this time?
Good stuff.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks.
Yep, I'll make a motion to consider accepting and placing on file the 2022 Isabel County Planning Commission Annual Report as presented.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 4 to the work and public session of work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. The ayes carried. The item will be moved to our work and regular session of the county commission.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too.
Enjoy that weather.
Okay. Our next item is consider approving the reduced rate processing fees in the amount of $45 per ton for clean material and in the amount of $70 per ton for material above the 10% contamination for the Mid-Michigan Industries business recycling for material brought to the Isabella County Material Recovery Facility. We have Jake Borton, our director here to give us background. Hi, Jake.
Good morning. As you can see by the staff report, I think it was 2019 that we originally established a processing fee for inbound material. At the time, we did not consider adding Mid-Michigan Industries to that staff report. But as time has kind of went on, we understand the reasoning why we needed to be able to add that to it. We offer it as a reduced inbound fee, but we also understand that Mid-Michigan Industries is also a competitor with the major haulers when it comes to this process. So, you know, they added a business component to their 501c 501c3 status when they started picking up on the business side of things, and their nonprofit status. But on the financial impact side of it, you can see, but in doing this, they've encroached on the private sector, the waste haulers and their services, undercutting what comes into our facility. If a private sector hauler was to ultimately bring to the facility, what that really amounts to is that the major haulers would possibly have that opportunity to be able to bring that material to us. We would be charging them a full $60 a ton on clean material, $85 a ton on contaminated material. So what we're asking to do is we're offering it at a reduced rate because of the fact that we are working with a local employer who is working with a challenged workforce to offer the possibility of gainful employment to their employees through Mid-Michigan Industry.
So prior to 2019, there were no fees.
Yes,
For anyone.
for anyone. What we were trying to do on that, commissioners, is we're just trying to recover some of our costs, the processing costs. At $60 a ton, in which at some point here we'll need to do a reevaluation on whether that is still covering our processing fees, which is our labor and maintenance on equipment, things of that nature, to be able to process material coming into a facility. And you know, at the time we established it, we were at $60 a ton to be able to process. So that was the reasoning why the $60 a ton processing fee was established. We're just trying to cover our processing cost to be able to offset some of the financial impact to Isabella County residents.
Any other questions or comments?
Last year, they brought 137 tons.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'll just say I'm pretty familiar with Mid-Michigan Industries, and it's the service they provide for that population is really valuable. So to offer them a reduced rate, I'm all for that. It's a good deal.
Great. I'll make a motion to consider approving the reduced rate processing fees in the amount of $45 per ton for clean material and the amount of $70 per ton, 10% contamination for Mid-Michigan Industries business recycling from material brought to the Isabella County Material Recovery Facility.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 5 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The ayes have it. Item 5 will be forwarded to the work and regular session of the county commission next week.
Thanks. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Okay, our next item is consider approving the government rental contract with Ellen's Equipment expiring December 31st, 2025 for the rental of a New Holland tractor with backhoe at the rate of $15 per hour for Isabella County Parks and Recreation. And authorize the board chair to sign the same. Hi, Brenda Walker, our Director of Parks and Rec.
In 2021, the parks began utilizing a government rental program for the rental of our New Holland tractor. This tractor is used for maintenance out at Coldwater Lake Family Park. The Coldwater Lake Family Park is only open for about 7 months of the year. And because of this, we feel renting the tractor is more beneficial to us than buying a new tractor because we are only using it for part of the year and we are only getting charged for the hours that we are putting on the machine. So last year we put about 72 hours on the tractor. This year we're anticipating about 100 hours. And the contract is for $15 an hour. Other benefits include, we do get a new tractor every year, which is really nice. And repair costs are included in the rental, which minimizes our maintenance expenses. The other thing too to mention is that, new tractors now are all computerized. So being able to troubleshoot some of these issues in-house is a little bit more difficult now with these new computerized systems without having to actually take the tractor in and scanning it to see, what is actually wrong with it. So having these repair costs included is also going to help us to minimize, some of those maintenance expenses. So we are hoping to continue renting this tractor for the next 3 summers.
Okay,
Yeah, I read through this. This is a great deal.
Yeah.
It's a much better deal than buying one.
Yes.
I thought. I was
Way better.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised when I read it, actually.
And the nice thing is they're right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, City.
And they only charge you for the
Yeah.
hours that you use the thing.
Do we have people that are, I don't want to say trained on this, but how many people do we have that's using this machine?
We have our park rangers and our park managers, so there's probably 3 to 4 rangers that are using it out at Coldwater, and then there's the 1 manager, plus our supervisors also use it as well.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right,
Makes a lot of sense.
that being said, I'd make a motion to consider approving the government rental contract with Ellen's Equipment expiring December 31st, 2025 for the rental of a New Holland tractor and backhoe at the rate of $15 per hour for the Isabel County Parks and Recreation, and authorize board chair to sign this.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 6 to the working regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. The ayes carry, and the item will be forwarded to the working regular session of the county commission next week. Thanks, Miranda.
Thanks, Brenda.
Okay, our next item is announcements. Anybody have any announcements?
Just that tomorrow at 2 p.m. upstairs in room 320 is our special goal setting session meeting. Open to the public.
Great.
We'll
Anything
be
else?
there.
Yeah, we'll be there. Okay, then I'll call to the public. Any public? No comments? Okay. Online?
There is no one at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Then I'll adjourn the meeting of the Public Works and Human Resources.